Hi everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new here, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Princess. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Every week I will be dropping great videos, so if you do want a notification each time a video drops, you just need to hit the bell and you will get a notification. Today's video is all about the MCAT. I will be giving you the books that I used to study for the MCAT, and I will also be giving you reviews on books that I think is great to study with, and I'll also be dropping links below on free MCAT practice tests. And if you do want to buy MCAT practice tests, I will give you the link below that I used to buy my practice test when I was studying for the MCAT. But the books that I used to study, I used two books. The first time I bought a book, I bought the Princeton Review book. It is so huge. I bought this book to study. It was so intimidating. I didn't know how to study it. Every time I study, I feel like I'm not getting the information. I don't know what was going on with this book. So I decided to buy another book. I bought the Kaplan Review books, which is this one. So the thing that I really love about the Kaplan book is the fact that they don't come in this size. So this book has all 7 books all into it, all 7 parts that you need to learn for the MCAT. However, what Kaplan does, Kaplan give you 7 books. So to break it down, instead of giving you just a huge book with everything in it, which can get very confusing and very intimidating. So studying with the Kaplan was easier for me. This is the biology one that I used, and this is the biochemistry one that I use. This is all really worn out. So and where's that? This is the physics one, and so on and so forth. So there's like 7 of them. Kaplan does a lot of information. It's just a lot of things that I give. I feel like Kaplan goes in more details compared to Princeton. So Princeton is okay. If you want to use it, that's fine. If you want something much easier, you can go from books to books. You should get Kaplan. Or if you do want something that's all into one book, if you really want to like get the intimidation of the MCAT, then you should get the huge Princeton Review books, and you will definitely get the intimidation that you're looking for the MCAT. So my review on that is Kaplan is the best. I find it very easier for me to study with. I will study a book and then move on to the next one. For the amount of time that I study a lot. I took 9 months to study, which is a pretty good time. The recommendation time is 6 to 8 months, but I went a month over. You really need at least 300 hours. That's about 10 to 15 hours a week. However, sometimes I would do 20 hours a week, and sometimes I would do 15 hours a week. It all depends on the amount of things that I have to do within that week. I was still in undergrad while studying for the MCAT, so I was doing my regular semester, having a full-time job, and studying for the MCAT. So it was a lot of work. I did study for 20 hours a week. Sometimes I may go over. Ain't no telling. A lot of the time on the weekends I will go over a little bit, being that I wasn't working on the weekends. I was just working from Monday through Friday, so I will go over the actual 20 hours time of study. I had to put in more time. I had to push my time limits in order to reach my goal. If you don't put in the time, you are not going to get the results that you need. So while studying, I used other methods as well. I didn't just study the MCAT book and take the test. Like, it's not enough. You need to do practice tests. In order for you to do well on the actual test, you need a practice test that mimics the actual MCAT, so that when you do sit down and take this 7 hours and 30 minutes test, you will be able to do well with it. So some practice tests that I took was Kaplan practice test. Kaplan give a lot of free practice tests. I made sure to utilize every single free practice test that Kaplan gives out. I took advantage of it, and I also bought some practice tests because Kaplan give you practice tests, but it's not a full-length practice test. Kaplan gave you 2 hours and 30 to 40 minutes for practice tests. However, that's pretty short, being that the MCAT is really 7 hours and 30 minutes long. You want to get a practice test that's 7 hours and 30 minutes long, and you can't find a free practice test that's 7 hours and 30 minutes long, so you got to buy those tests. So I bought some practice tests. I'm going to put the link below on where I got my practice test from and where I also got my free Kaplan practice test from as well. But the practice tests that actually mimic the MCAT, and it helped me really, really well. Whenever that I studied the book, I would take a test. It was just awesome. It just helped me a lot. And when I do want some free tests, I would go to Kaplan and I would take some free practice tests. The test was pretty inexpensive. It's not really expensive like that. For my practice test, I bought 5 practice tests, and it was about $70, which was pretty cheap, being that I couldn't afford a tutor to tutor me for the MCAT. The MCAT tutors are expensive. Like, you need an arm, a leg, and an organ in order to get you an MCAT tutor, and I don't have those to give. I need my arm, my legs, and my organs in order to function well. So I just decided to do it all on my own. Most MCAT tutor is like $2,500, $3G. That's just too much. I couldn't afford it. My parents couldn't afford it. So my best method was to buy practice tests that I could afford, and to also take advantage of the free practice tests to get me to where I need to be in order for me to take the MCAT. The MCAT has 4 sections on it, and there are 95 minutes on each section. The first section on the MCAT is the chemical and physical foundation of biological system. The second one is the CARS. So the CARS is a critical analysis and reasoning skills. The third one is biological, biochemical foundation of the living system, and the fourth one is psychological, social, and biological foundation of behavior. Those are the 4 sections on the MCAT, and all 4 of them is 95 minutes. Literally, the MCAT is totally different. So when you're studying the MCAT book, it's very good to study the book. However, how questions are phrased in the book is totally different on how it's phrased on the actual MCAT. That's why I always recommend that you buy a practice test or take free practice tests that mimic the actual MCAT, because what you study in the book, how to put the questions, it's not how it's going to be on there. Some of them may be like that, but majority of the time, the questions are phrased differently. It's not going to be the same way you study it in the book. I think the score ranges from 500 to 528. 528 is 100 percentile, but I think the average is 500 to 525. That's pretty good if you make around there. Want to make that scores, you need to put in a lot of time that you need. So if you are not doing anything, if you don't have a job, if you are living at home with your parents and they're paying for things for you, the best thing to do is to take this summer off and really put in the 3 months that you need and study really hard. However, if you do have a job, if you do have bills to pay, take the 8 to 9 months that you need to study. Pace yourself accordingly and study the way you need to study, because you do not want to keep taking the MCAT. Medical school look at that and they don't like it. You don't want to take the MCAT 3 times. What you want to do is study as much as you can, then take the MCAT. Plus, the MCAT is really expensive. It's $315. And if you register late, it's $370. I had a late registration, so I paid $370, and I wasn't going to pay that again. So I decided to really take the time to really study before I take my MCAT in order to get the score that I got. 3 or 4 days before my MCAT, I stopped studying. You don't want to study all through. You do not want to study until the day of your MCAT. You want to stop studying like probably a week before the MCAT, or probably 4 days to the MCAT. Take that 4 days off. Relax. You deserve it. You already put in the time. You already put in the 9 months or the 3 months or the year. However long that you study, you already put in that time. So trust yourself, believe that you've done it, and believe that you're putting all the work and you're going to do well. But don't study until the last day. The night before the MCAT, just relax yourself, go to bed early, watch some movies, just don't do too much. As I said earlier, the MCAT is super long, so you are in a cubicle and a computer is in front of you. That's why it's always good to actually get your practice test and practice on a computer, being that you're gonna be taking the MCAT on the computer. Sleep well and eat well, you know, that will really help you out a lot. I was really lucky. I did pretty well on the MCAT without sleeping well. I was so tired. You need to have your entire 8 hours of sleep. So what I did was I drank a lot of coffee to keep me up. At your MCAT testing center, they give free coffee, so I just kept asking for more and more coffee in order to keep me awake. So sleep well and eat well. You're gonna need that sleep, and you need to be full in order to go through the entire 7 hours and 30 minutes, because it's not a joke. It's intense. Very, very, very intense. For the information that I give you help you out a little bit on how to go about the MCAT, what to expect on the MCAT, and the books, my book review of Kaplan in Princeton. Good luck on your MCAT if you are currently studying for your MCAT, and if you are thinking of studying for your MCAT, good luck. Don't get stressed out about it. Take your time, study as long as you want. Don't rush the process. Everything takes time, especially studying for the MCAT. It takes time to get everything down packed. It took me 9 months. Some people study for a year. Just take your time. You are not in a rush. This is your future, and you want to do well if you really want to get into medical school. So good luck on your MCAT, and good luck on your journey to medical school. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, being that I will be dropping video every week to give you insight on things that you are going to need for medical school, MCAT, and many other great things. Don't forget to hit the bell so you get a notification each time I drop a video. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week.